Hi there, Phil again. So this particular tip is on growing companion groups of pot plants. Now I'm doing this on a rather rubbishy sort of a day of weather, so I'm sort of dodging showers and wind, so I apologise if the light or maybe the sound isn't all that good. So growing plants, pot plants in the community is a great idea because it gets a chance to showcase some of your special plants, such as this bromeliad that I have here. I do have a collection and it's nice to keep some out of my outdoor living areas. And also you can see we have this pot of pansies which has been flowering for 4 or 5 months like this. Looks fabulous. Because this is a winter flowering annual or bedding plant, I will shortly be taking it out and actually putting a summer crop in there, such as marigolds or petunias or begonias. Down here, this gorgeous bowl of Rhodohypoxis bulbs, and these flower for about 3 or 4 weeks over spring, and then they lose their flowers and they're just foliage and they die down. So I'll move this one away to an area in my vegetable garden out of sight until next year. And that's one of the advantages of growing pot plants in the community, because all of these pots are actually quite manageable. This is quite a big pot here, and if you have a look you'll see that it is actually double potted. So the plant is actually growing in a small plastic pot inside that large ceramic one, so that makes life easier. Now I do have one of my tips on double potting and also one on growing these plants on feet. So you can't see very well there, but that for example is on small ceramic feet, which helps to keep this terrace area clean. First of all, I'll discuss the reasons why we grow pot plants in a community such as this, and then I'll talk about some of the design features. Firstly, the benefits of grouping pot plants. A single pot plant can make a dramatic impact on an outdoor environment, but as I've mentioned, the large pots can be difficult to move when required. A group of smaller pots and plants can create a similar impression while being easier to manage. Groupings of pot plants can adapt to various styles. While a formal garden may lend itself to large striking pot features, a more informal collection with a range of plants may suit a cottage garden or an intimate patio. Here I show a range of succulents in pots reflecting a desert theme. In another situation, I show a spectacular array of flowering plants on a terrace. I would warn you that this is a show garden and would require a lot of maintenance to keep it at the standard. However, if you have the time and energy, a grouping like this is a whole landscape display in itself. A potted vegetable or herb garden is best grown in a community, usually with different species grown in separate pots to allow each plant to have its own space and sunlight. Here I show herbs and flowers grown on steps just outside a kitchen. Next, the considerations you should take account when setting up your grouping. First of all, garden plan. Keep your overall garden plan in mind. For a formal style, matching pots should be placed in even numbers, symmetrically placed in relation to a central axis. An informal layout lends itself to uneven numbers of pots, placed artfully but seemingly randomly. Next, pot selection. Choose the pots themselves to not only suit your chosen garden style but also the grouping. Matching pots can make a spectacular impression, however a range of compatible colours or patterns can be charming and attractive. You can also create a community of pots within a single pot, usually a wide saucer. I have this range of dwarf bromeliads or Neoregelia. They tended to disappear when I planted them in the garden. However, lifted up into the saucer, they make an attractive feature. In this other example, several colours of Ionium have been grouped in a single pot to make a contrast. In this other example again, the permanent herb plant is complemented by flowering annuals. Finally, spacing and maintenance. As I've mentioned, use pot plant feet to elevate pots and keep them well spaced for easy cleaning, as the area between the pots can get messy quickly. A hose, broom or leaf blower can be used for this cleaning. I have produced a video on this topic, I've linked it below. Regarding maintenance, it may pay to choose hardy plants that will cope with dry periods, as shown in this collection. An approach that you can use with your design is the thriller, filler, spiller approach. For example, this is my thriller plant here, this bromeliad. Thrillers are larger keynote plants with dramatic foliage and a strong presence. Suitable plants are those with a real wow factor. Examples such as palms, variegated canna lily, variegated agave attenuata. Next, fillers. These are the plants that add bulk and colour and foliage interest. Some are frothy and exuberant and serve to enliven your patio on deck. They are less about dramatic impact than creating a rich flower or foliage display. Examples can be petunias, impatiens for seasonal colour, heuchera and landseers or Stachys basantina as permanent perennials. Some filler plants convey a more intimate personal feel, such as herbs or miniature perennials. My fillers here are the pansies and rhodohypoxis. Finally, spillers. The role of these plants is to trail down over the sides of the container and complete the sense of verdant luxuriance. Examples are trailing rosemary, sedum mexicanicum, trailing tomatoes, and in my case, of course, succulents. As I mentioned before, I do have some other tips on related topics, growing the plants on feet, and also the double potting method. Another one that I have is one on vertical gardens, which I absolutely love vertical gardens, and they are a very different way of growing a range of pot plants in a community on some sort of grid fencing or such like. So I think you'd be interested to see that one. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video and share it with others if you think they'd be interested. And of course, thank you very much for watching this through to the end.